Welcome to the SelfActualize Podcast, where we explore the journeys, insights, and breakthroughs that lead to personal growth and success. I'm Bakshi, and I'm excited to announce that on today's episode, our hosts Anmol and Amit Bakshi sit down with a very special guest, Bonnie Petrich. Bonnie is an expert sales coach with a track record of helping sales executives and managers become more efficient and powerful salespeople that consistently blow past their quotas. Let's jump into this insightful episode with Bonnie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SelfActualize Podcast, where each week we sit down with absolute world-class coaches and we dive into the topics that they are the best in the world in. So my name's Anmol. I'm the host of the podcast. I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Amit Bakshi. Amit is also CEO and founder of SelfActualize.ai, the leader in bringing AI coaching to connect you with the world's best coaches. Amit, how are you today?
Good. Great to be here.
All right. Sounds good. So today we're sitting down with Bonnie Petrich. So Bonnie Petrich is a sales leader and sales coach, and she's the founder of Time to Learn Today, which is a sales training practice. So Bonnie spent 3 decades as a salesperson, sales leader in both tech and telecom. She had a very successful career. In 2021, she started Time to Learn Today, providing sales coaching and sales expertise to leaders in many different industries. So we're super happy to have Bonnie here today. Bonnie, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Good. I'm flattered, world class. I'll take that.
You're my coach.
I know. I'm both of you. So that's great. I'm flattered. Yes.
So Bonnie, tell us a little bit about yourself. So, you've had, again, 3 decades of experience as a salesperson, sales leader across a variety of different industries, very successful. Then you got into the sales coaching business where you've got your own sales coaching practice. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your sales career, and then what motivated you to kind of change into the coaching aspect and start your own firm.
Yeah. So if you look at my LinkedIn, my passions are teaching and selling. And so I started my career selling. I really enjoyed it. I love connecting with people, and I looked upon selling as really helping people. And I think that was what made me successful, is the people that I was selling to realized this woman really wants to help me, not sell to me. And I did that for a long time. And then I was fortunate to have a child. So that was my calling to do my second passion. Because when I was in my sales career, I never took a class where the person who was teaching it actually was an expert. It was usually somebody dropped in there who was a poor salesperson. And I always felt that I could add so much value from all my experience and provide training material that would be relevant so that you could walk out the door and actually apply it and use it. Salespeople are pretty impatient too. So I did that, and I was fortunate to start all sorts of new hire training programs, executive programs, women's programs, for telecom companies like Siemens, and then I did AMC, then Dell. And then my goal was when I reached a certain age, I would start my own business because I wanted to really pick and choose what I wanted to teach and who I wanted to teach. And the core of who I wanted to teach is I really wanted to focus on individuals who really wanted to get better. When you have an enterprise class, you get people who are forced to come to the class. And there's usually 20% of the classes are really into getting better, and the rest of class are there because I had to. And I really enjoyed working with those individuals who wanted to get better. They were the ones that stayed after class, and I could help them. And it's a pivot. What started early in my career got me excited was the big commission check. And now what gets me excited is, and my son will tell you, I go into tears when I get email when I hear the success. When somebody has done something that they've been trying to achieve and they achieve it. It just brings me so much joy. And so I'm a fan of you should love what you do. And I do. I love what I do.
And then how long were you kind of a corporate coach at the big companies versus having your own practice?
So I did that kind of on the side. What I found was when you work in enterprise enablement, they had their own rigid path. And just like I did with selling, I would spend time with individuals, listen to what their concerns were. And then on my own, I would say, here, let me just help you. And so I kind of did both. I did what was required of me. And then I also did on sideline of helping these individuals, whether it be a new individual right out of college, a new individual who moved from being a successful salesperson into a manager who went into being a VP that needed some creativity and some ideas and different things. I was always there to help, and that gave me the pleasure.
And then what are like some of your absolute favorite coaching moments?
Two individuals who I was actually joined me on a coaching, actually wasn't a coaching day, it was a training day. And I'll never forget that. They walked into the class. They didn't realize I was the teacher. They right out of school. And they both said, what a waste. I know how to talk, because the class was on communication, how to be an effective communicator. And I remember hearing that, what a waste. And so now that was 20 years ago. And I looked, and both of them are two executive VPs and two different companies. And so look at how far, and I have been with them since their first day. So to me, and I still do coaching with them today. So look at how far they've come. Not my success, but their success. And they still love it when I check in with them, usually now about 3 times a year, and to see their growth. And I'm just so happy for them.
Yeah.
Those are my coaching. When my people that I work with succeed, I succeed. I'm in the background. It's not about me. It's about, my job is to make my coachees look good.
So as a sales coach, when you're coaching either reps or managers, or how much of it is like specific skills? I need to get better at objection handling, or I need to get better at telling a story, or from a leader, this is ways I can run a better team meeting. How much of it is those kind of specific skills, and how much of it is kind of broader? How do I hit my number? Or I've become a leader, and now how do I coach and manage my team? Or what's the mix of very like specific topics versus more, I would say, more general sales related themes?
I think I come in more specific because there's something they want to work on to get better.
A specific skill.
Yeah, it could be a certain situation. I've inherited a team that has this. I've inherited a team that doesn't have skills in this. I've moved to another company. I want to change the dynamics. How do I do that? So there's lots of things. And that's the thing about my business that makes me different than anybody else, is that I spend a lot of time, like weeks, but listening to what they're trying to achieve. And then through my experience, I can kind of do a dim sum of all the different skill classes and create something that can really hit the mark and work with them. Because my job is to make them look good, bringing me in behind the scenes. So it's customized to what the situation is.
Got it. Okay. So Bonnie, we've gotten to know each other over the last year or so. My favorite quality in you is your positivity. You're just bubbling optimism, possibility. You're always believing in people, even when they don't believe in themselves. How do you do it? How are you always so positive?
That's so funny. I know my nickname is Energizer Bonnie, because and if I don't, no matter how sick I've been, and believe me, I've had many sessions where I've been pretty sick, I will still power through it because, you didn't pay for that. And I look at it, I reverse the roles. And if I were working with somebody, you don't want somebody who's negative. So life's too short. I had a life-threatening accident when I was 25. And I think that changed my attitude even more, that I appreciate every day. And why not be positive? Who wants to work with somebody who's negative? And I enjoy it. But I will give you a little secret. 9 p.m. I'm out. I start early and I go, but I also need 8 hours to re-energize. Yes.
So how do you take that positivity though and balance the tough love? Because sometimes you got to give your coachees the tough love. You got to hold them accountable. So what's your best practice for balancing the two? Be positive, but also at the same time, hold your coachees to the mat.
Yeah, I think that's the skill set of giving positive feedback with, following up with reality. And just to remind them that one of the things that you ask for help for a specific reason. And I always use the example of my Nordstrom consultant, who was fantastic. If you go to a consultant that tells you you look great in everything you wear, and then you wear it and people make comments and it's not very good. You don't trust them. So what I loved about her is even though I picked something out, I like it, she would be honestly tell me, no, that does not look good. And that gave me a lot of respect for her because that's what I have is somebody who I can trust. And if I told somebody good news all the time, you're going to go, and it's not realistic. And that's what a coach does. It's very realistic and very trusting. And you have to build that trust. And I believe I had that with my coachees and to be honest with the feedback and not sugarcoat it. And it's how you deliver it too, how you deliver your feedback.
I'm just so fascinated by how positive you are all the time. I'm curious, behind the veil, is there any negative self-talk? Is there 1 ounce of negativity in you ever?
There always is. You wouldn't be human if you didn't have that negativity, but it's how you handle it. I mean, sometimes, and I honestly look for coaches too, for myself, because I think we all need somebody. It would be exhausting if you're always that way. And so I look at it and you have to do a lot. I do a lot of self-reflecting. You know, you have no one. If you want to have a good day, I can't count on anybody else. You got to count on yourself. How do you make it a good day? How do you do that? Did I make it a productive day? Do I want to sit here? It's so easy to sit there and be sorry for yourself. That's an easy thing to do. And you can come up with a million. Everybody can come up with excuses. So, but I think that's a waste of time. I try to make the best out of every day. But yeah, I have negativity. I wouldn't, it's like, and that's stress. How do you handle that? And, how do you channel that in a different way? But it's okay. I always tell people too, if they have bad news, it's okay to cry. It's okay to scream, and let it out. You've got to. And I have, maybe in the shower, clear the area or whatever, but you have to. It gives you a good balance.
I think that full concept of the negative self-talk is so interesting, especially in sales. Because in sales, so many times the job is you're putting yourself out there. You're making yourself vulnerable. You're putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Whether you're calling on like a C-level for the first time, or you're cold calling somebody and you're getting that rejection, or you're doing a presentation and you're getting nervous. There's a lot of that negative self-talk that's going through your mind. There's a lot of opportunities for that. And you talk about this quite a bit. It's the moments, or what do you call it? The moments of self-doubt. Moments of self-doubt, right? I think you deal with that a lot in sales and the anxiety. So what are some tips or best practices that you have to get over that? Let's say I've got a big meeting with an executive, meeting them for the first time, and I've got to present, and my number is riding on this. So behind the scenes, there's so much negative self-talk. There's so much, I'm not good enough, and what am I doing here? I'm out of my skis. Not going to be successful. What are some tips that you have for helping all of us kind of get over those moments?
Oh, I say 3, and that I do it every time. The 3 Ps: plan, prepare, practice, because that builds confidence. You can only be as good as your last practice. If you don't plan, you don't practice and prepare, you're going to fail most likely. And every session that I do, I've always planned, prepare, and practice. I don't just say because I've done this 100 times. If you look at all those people who are very good at any kind of skill or profession, and they call themselves professionals, they practice the basics. They never forget about that. And so that's what I do. And that's what I would tell anybody is practice the basics. You're driving to a customer site, practice your opening line, because if you nail your opening, you can smooth sailing.
Yeah.
If you are about to do something on Zoom, look in the mirror and just I always say it's the first line. When people are doing videotaping, executives, I do a lot of videotaping, and I ask the video guys, how did the executives do it? And they all laugh because they really fumble on the first line because they haven't practiced. And those that have practiced, once you've got that first line and opening,
then you get the momentum.
And it builds confidence. And you don't get that unless you have planned, prepared, and practiced. And that's where you can get that. Yeah. And then when you've done that, if something does go wrong, you can say, hey, I did my best. And you can look in the mirror. I did my best. I planned, prepared, practice. That's all I can do. And then just roll on. But if you didn't, you have no one to blame but who? Yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like this is second nature for athletes, right? Athletes or anyone in sports, they're spending most of their time, they're spending their day practicing. right? They're maybe in the competition once a week or once a month or every other day. So the actual time spent in competition is a small amount. They're spending most of their time, their 9 to 5 or what have you, is practicing with the team or individually or watching game film or whatever. That's kind of obvious for athletes. But what if we, as professionals or business professionals or sales professionals, employ some of that? What if we start practicing kind of on our own or use some of those principles? And we've heard about the 10,000 hours and the deliberate practice. You got to spend those extra cycles practicing and try to get better. But I think we can definitely employ some of that stuff in sales. Like before you talk to the C-level, at least rehearse it in your mind. If you're given a pitch, stand up in front of the mirror by yourself and go through the pitch. Go through it a couple times. By the time you get in front of the audience, you're going to be 10 times better.
Yeah. And if I can make a tip, never through your mind, because when
you would do it out loud.
Out loud, because the more you say it out loud, the fewer words you will, and be crisper when you go live. And that's why they practice professionals, so that when they go live, they can perform during that situation.
Yeah.
And then practice objection handling. What objections would I hear? So that when you hear it, you're not like, that you've practiced it. And so it's very smooth and you have a really good smooth answer. I always give another tip is, and it's funny because I practice what I preached, is that a lot of times people have never met their executives that they work for. And if you run into them or a customer's executive, what would you say to them? Practice that. Because if you don't, you're going to sound like an idiot. You're going to, or you shy away and you say, I'm too embarrassed to say anything.
Practice the elevator pitch.
And so I've run into him and it's been very smooth. And I say to myself, thank goodness I practiced, because I never would have said that. I would have said, and it would not have made a positive impression. Yeah, let's just put it that way.
So Bonnie, let's say you're running a sales training next week. You're doing like a 90-minute workshop next week. And it's something you've done before, but maybe you haven't done that specific topic in 6 months. The week before you go and do it, would you actually sit in your office at home and practice? Would you run through the whole thing?
Yes, yes, because you have to use, especially on virtual, you have to be very comfortable with all the tools. Every 3 minutes, you need to bring in either ask a chat question and run chat. You have to put Q&A, run a poll. There's all these things that are going on. It's kind of like your air traffic control running there. And that takes skill. It takes practice to do that. And if you haven't done a class, especially in a couple months, you get rusty at it. If you're going to go to the whiteboard, you're going to go to a flip chart. Does the camera move with you? Do you have it on spotlight? All those little things so that it doesn't happen. Because if you've ever been on a webinar that goes south, what do people do? They disconnect and they'll never come back again.
So the hot topic these days is, of course, AI. Where do you see AI taking things in sales?
So I was just very excited about when AI started, because I wanted to explore it from a salesperson's perspective. And so especially in this COVID world where we work by ourselves, and let's be honest, very rarely do people go into the office and collaborate. Those days are gone, sadly. So when you do something or you need an idea, who do you talk to? A lot of times people don't call. They don't want to call, which I always think, call somebody up, 5 minutes, hey, would you just check this out? Well, I call it my AI buddy, because I believe AI is another way to help you, but I don't think it can do all your work. I truly believe it's not a replacement. It's an enhancement. So I'll give you an example. I am creating a advertisement for a class. I'll create it in Word, and I use the AI Grammarly to check and making sure my tone is right. And I'll use that. So I love that tool. And then I go over to Claude and I'll say, here's what I'm trying to achieve. And I want it to be interesting. I want people to sign up for it. I tell exactly what I want. How would you improve it? And then I get another perspective of how to improve it. And I don't use it all, but I combine it with, remember, I started with my words. So they're taking my words and they are improving it. Oh, I like the way they did that. Oh, I never thought of that. It gives me another idea. It's like having somebody else to give you opinions, thoughts, way to think about it. Okay, that's a good one. I'll take that. I'll take a little of this, a little of that. Because who else do I have? My dog, no, it doesn't provide much input there. So I love that. And the other thing is, again, salespeople are very impatient. And so my other favorite is, I have never met a salesperson who read the entire annual report. Okay. They may say that they read the annual report. So they've been told in sales, you should read the annual report. So wouldn't it be nice if somebody could read it for me and just net it out? So that's what an AI can do. You can drop in the annual report, but you need to tell the AI what you're looking for, specifically that will help you in what you're selling or who you're talking to. You can't just dump and say, tell me what do I need to know? They're not going to do that. You have to guide it. And that's why you have to learn the art of a prompt, which is guiding and telling exactly what you want and how you want to use it. And that's a skill set. But I think that if you use it in the right way, it's a great enhancement to make you better.
So in the future, when salespeople are enhanced by AI, do you need fewer salespeople?
No, I don't think so. Because you still need the salesperson. I still believe you're always going to have human-to-human contact. Everyone can tell a difference between a chat box and a human. And if you have AI to do the jobs that are too dangerous for us or too monotonous for us, that's fine. But the creativity still has to come from the salesperson. It's still a human-to-human contact. I'm getting another human to change and do something. So no, I don't think it will replace us.
I think another area where AI is super powerful and helpful in sales, and this may sound very like mundane and tactical, but it's like meeting follow-up, consolidation of call notes and action items, because I feel like that's where a lot of sales kind of falls down, right? We all have too many meetings. And these days we have even more meetings because we have virtual meetings. So some of us have like 14, 15 virtual meetings in a day, right? So if you have 14, 15 virtual meetings a day, how do you consolidate the call notes? How do you consolidate action items and follow-ups and next steps? And even with the best intentions, you wait until the end of the day, or you get to the next day, you've forgotten what happened 14 meetings ago. This is a huge area where AI and all of these note takers that are out there that can help. Even if you don't have one of the AI note takers, if you can just get the call transcript, send it to ChatGPT or Claude, put in the right prompts that help it identify what you're specifically looking for that's tailored to your business, then you get the call notes summarized in the template that you want, all of the next steps, who owns the next step. He can simplify all of that.
Yeah, so you see, it's taken away some of the monotonous so that you can really focus on your creativity and really your strategy, all that important stuff that their company really paid you for.
Yeah, because that's where a lot of things fall down. You come out of a meeting and then the next day you've forgotten what you talked about. Everyone has a different idea what happened in the meeting. You forgot the action items. You forgot who's got next. And then especially as a sales manager, you get on a one-on-one with your rep the next week. Again, you've forgotten what the next steps were, where the deal was. But that's where AI can really help. It takes the guesswork out of next steps on a deal or in the meeting, and it automates all that.
And it can even take written work now, I see, or notes, and then net it out for you. So again, helping you to be more productive so that you can focus on, again, why you're a salesperson, to come up with strategies to help a customer's business.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the SelfActualize Podcast. Have a good night.
Thank you for tuning in to today's podcast episode. If you're eager to continue your personal growth journey, stay tuned for more reviews and reflections with Anmol. Don't forget, if you're ready to take your self-development to the next level, visit SelfActualize.ai to explore personalized coaching from world-class coaches. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week. Until then, keep growing and reaching for your potential.